Let's say you're me. Your community manager sends you a DM and says, hey, I'm bored. And you say, okay, I need an RMC coaster for Coaster Hallow. Can you get me that? They say, sure. And they deliver. The coaster you see in front of you is the coaster that Loop-de-Loop gave me for this park. And I got to tell you, I struggle really hard with what theme to apply to it. However, after about a week and a lot of time on a treadmill, I have finally come to exactly what I think works best. I'm going to take you along through every step of the process and show you how I got to the conclusion. Getting into this coaster is a lot of fun. I wanted to start out right off the bat with some terrain paint going around. This coaster was a little difficult to position because for some reason I have all this trouble trying to make it where you can clip terrain in Planet Coaster. I struggle with it in Planet Coaster 1 and I struggle with it in Planet Coaster 2. I'm thinking it's my learning style and the fact that the way the buttons are worded in the GUI made sense to someone, and they've done a great job in trying to make sure it makes sense, but it's either not making sense still or it's not going to make sense. It's some kind of convoluted wording or it's glitched. It's always a possibility too, right? Planet Coaster do. So right away I'm going to lay out these flame signs because I've decided to go with the flame or fire, type of theme to this. And I think that part of the thing that made me realize that I had a debate between the themes is because Mystic Timbers over in Funland, the last park series, Mystic Timbers was a Viking coaster. And I just finished Funland, and by the way, the full tour of that's coming soon. But I just finished Funland, and honestly, it was like, do I really want to do more tropical? Do I want to add more tropical again? Like, it felt like a redundant sort of thing. So I thought of Speedway, and I thought, well, that could come across okay, but it could also get kind of lame too. So I decided in the end on this sort of flame theme, and I think that honestly it works really well. I don't see any kind of issues with it. I did want to make sure I color coordinated, so I put these signs together, and they basically come in, I think, 2 variants. And one of the variants has the flame decal of one type and then the sign. Other ones just had the flame decals in some way. But then I kind of duplicated and moved everything around, as you can see here, and kind of made all the variants that it was going to be. And getting these signs positioned correctly, this is a lot of fun. Honestly, it's a lot of fun. It enabled me to kind of have those, just some little messages to the rider themselves. And I thought of going funny with it. In some places I kind of do, like ironic funny. And that's because it's a wild coaster to begin with, but it doesn't take itself seriously. It's just sort of a goofy, silly coaster, but it's very intense. This coaster would be a thrill ride. I mean, just absolutely crazy thrill ride. I don't even know if I could do it, to be honest with you, but there is a POV coming up here at, once I get the theming on the coaster. I do a full POV at night and at day, so you'll get to see it in both variations. And I think you'll agree, it's quite a wild ride. It's a pleasant ride. Loop-de did fantastic. It actually looks like a treble clef from above. But yeah, and it's just one of those things where I don't know, I just enjoyed it, but I don't think I could ride it. These arrows that I'm putting down, by the way, nothing short of a pain in the neck. I think what you see here is me kind of experimenting with what's going to work. And not long after this, I'm going to have this epiphany as I'm putting the other signs in, where I realize that the arrow isn't really necessary the way it is. I could do better. And I think you'll agree that I did better. I think you'll agree that I did a little bit funner with it. If you want to continue to get good content like this same exact style and everything, subscribe to my channel. I have tons and tons of it from Planet Coaster 1 And now from Planet Coaster 2, this is actually my second park series, and Planet Coaster 2, at the very least, drop me a like so that I know you like the video. It takes you just a second, but it means a tremendous amount to me because it signals to me that the video was liked, as, you know, it implies it would. Comments, they are great too. You can share ideas with me. You can name things. You can suggest things. You can make all kinds of stuff. I have a new computer actually on the way to the house, and it's going to be capable of doing true dark in the game. So somebody had commented, I believe, on one of my shorts recently and said they wanted to see some dark rides. So you're getting your wish. I'm going to do some dark rides in this park. And I'm actually going to be able to go back and do the final tour of Funland and show you some of the features I simply couldn't show you without any kind of RTX shaders or RTX graphics card is what it is. I have the GTX. At the time I thought it was a great computer. Now I'm starting to regret, but Newegg, I went right on there and I found a great deal, and a friend is going to help me out. So much thanks to them. They've chosen to remain anonymous through the situation, but yeah, many thanks to them. Now I'm in love with this coaster, and speaking of being in love, here is a message from our sponsor, Marvy G in 3D. And Marvy G in 3D has a deal right now for Valentine's Day, and I'm going to let him tell you all about it.
Make Valentine's Day unforgettable with Marvy G in 3D. Love comes in all forms, and so do our gifts. Discover the perfect way to say I love you with Marvy G in 3D's Valentine's Day collection. From personalized keepsakes to unique art pieces, our collection is crafted with love and precision for every story. Whether you're near or far, celebrate your connection with a gift that's as unique as your love. From personalized keepsakes to unique art pieces, find the perfect gift for your loved one. Watch your ideas come to life with our state-of-the-art 3D printing technology. Celebrate love with a gift that's as unique as your story. Visit marvygin3d.com and make Valentine's Day truly special.
And that fantastic message from Marvy G. And Marvy actually has their own YouTube channel, and there they have all kinds of really cool content. I'm telling you, there's so many talented Planet Coaster 2 creators out there. It's insane. Many of them are in a Discord community, so drop into Discord. You can check out everything we have to offer. We have a full space of all the content creator stuff going on there, and it's great. People share so much stuff, you know, and it's just fantastic. So stop on by. It's in the description. If the link is ever expired, thank you to whoever commented. It might be whom or whoever. I don't know. You have to go down to the comments and let me know what you think of that. Whom or whoever. I don't know. I know what they say in the TV show The Office, but I don't want to rely on a sitcom to get my grammar advice. So let me know in the comments, is it who or whoever? Anyway, so whoever the person is who went to the comments and informed me that the Discord link was actually expired in one of them, thank you so much, because a lot of times people will click it, they never try again after it's expired. They don't consider it worth their time. So I really appreciate when you point out things like that to me, because I'm not clairvoyant and I've already joined the Discord. So a lot of times I have no idea some of those links that are generated have even expired. I try really hard to set them to never expire, but you know, if you forget and they expire, sometimes no one says a word. So test things like that out for me, you know, and really let me know when things aren't working well, and I can definitely fix them right up. I like to fix everything up nice real quick, you know, every time, to keep people having a nice experience. And there you can see that arrow project that I did a few seconds ago. That whole arrow thing kind of polishes off that back corner. Now we're going to move on to the coaster station, and I'll be honest, I cut quite a bit out here because I was just sort of skipping over the flooring being stupid. I really struggle with this. I love the fact, and I hate the fact that the coaster track is so sunken in the station. I really feel though like the overhang beneath where the players, the NPCs actually like load the trains. I think that area could have a subfloor under it because it's really hard to fill that spot in. And now you'll see I'll set all my walls wrong height, have to go back through and actually fix them. And spoiler alert, the gates are all in the wrong place as well. So get used to seeing me move those because it happens a few times. And then we've cut around to when the walls were a little more stable. I think that a fight with the walls to try to make them as stable as possible. Here you can see them run through the tracks. So a fight with the walls like that is not really entertaining content anyway. So I tend to cut that kind of stuff out. I mean, if you want to see it, let me know. I'll try to keep it in, I guess. But I'd rather not. It cuts the rundown time a little bit. Some of these videos are coming out to 20 minutes in length, which right now the experts, you know, the experts, they're all saying that longer YouTube videos are better. I don't know. I have no idea. You guys are gonna have to let me know that. Do you prefer a longer video or a shorter video? It's something that I was wondering. I know Tim's Coloring Corner, one of the members of the Discord, Tim had actually recently put out a question on his community tab on YouTube, and he had asked the question, do you prefer a longer video or a shorter video? A longer video where he colors pictures, so like a longer video would be where he finishes the entire picture in one sitting, and a shorter video is like what he has now, to segregate it to pieces. And I'm just curious from people, is this a thing? Like, do you prefer a longer video where it's more complete, or do you prefer a shorter video? Yeah, you're seeing this correctly. You don't have to adjust your monitor or anything, and your, video is still the same video. I'm actually installing some infrastructure for once. I get this impression from a lot of people that I watch that this just takes things over the top a little bit and adds a little bit more to the realism. I have never bothered with this stuff, and you can see in here I struggle with it even while I'm doing it. But I think that it's something that I wanted to do this time because I wanted to see how it would work. And I don't mind it. I think it looks really good. I think it's a wonderful thing to try to add, and the interior of this station just looks great. Like, I really enjoy it. Now, it does have some refined points. Some places I have to mess with a little bit to get them to look just right here. But one thing that I want to try to do is make these numbered booth stations, which something I've never done in any of my parks, any of my coasters, is number the lanes where people load, and I think that's wrong. I think that's something I need to start doing, and I should even go as far as putting floor paint down as well with the letters. You just partially sink them into the floor, make them a dull yellowish color, things like that, but in some kind of messy font. But it's something that I may consider like down the road, because I mean, parks do that. They paint the floor and they number above the actual cattle pen that you're in. But it's something that I don't really often do. And I think that it's a shame too, because this was a lot of fun to put together. It really was. These were really interesting and they were really nice, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I don't think there's any downfalls to doing this, and it certainly ups the ante a little bit when it comes to the final look, which you're going to see at the, further along the video. I'm going to give you a nice cinematic panorama of this room, just a nice flow through it. And you're going to ride the coaster, so you're going to come through here once or twice, both day and night. So you're really going to see how it works, but this just, I don't know, just add something extra. I was really excited about it. Switching to nighttime here was an interesting choice because it is at the point now where my graphics settings I can get to making it look pretty close to what an actual interior should look like in the daytime, in the regular game when you have the correct graphics card. Which, as I said earlier, getting a new computer, I forget what brand it is, but it's a nice one. It has pretty high level RTX graphics card in it, and it has 32 gigabytes of RAM. And it has terabyte of storage, plus I think it's Windows 11 ready, but Windows 11 gives me a migraine anytime I think about it, so I'm glad it has Windows 10 Pro on it as well. It's a nice little rig. It's going to get me a little further along and help me out. This computer I'm running this off of now is about 10 years old, so it's aging up there, maybe a little bit less, maybe 8 years old, but it's starting to age up there a little bit. Now, it was expensive at the time when I got it, but it's a GTX NVIDIA card, and honestly, if you know anything about the graphics cards in Planet Coaster 2, an NVIDIA GTX card isn't going to get you there. The interiors are going to be lit. There's this global illumination, this blueness that goes all throughout the land. And if you can get the ray tracing to work through an RTX graphics card, you can get a little bit more of an intense deepness to the shadows, and there's actual darkness inside a building too, which is a really cool thing, and it's going to enable a lot of stuff. So hit up that submission link. It's always in the description. Hit up that submission link. Give me some good dark rides to ride, some good underground coasters and stuff. Really fancy lighting tricks and everything. Fun fact for you here, the coaster was not named until this moment. I had to actually sit here and think while I was working on it about what in the world am I going to name this coaster, and that's when it hit me. Inferno fits so perfectly, and this lighting, I just wanted to get it right, where it was kind of dramatic on the sign, dramatic in the station had the right theming and lighting to it before I went ahead and turned the sun back on in a minute. And like I was trying to go for underglow here underneath this edge, just some kind of red underglow, but it didn't work out that way. Instead, I opted to line the trackside with this bar light, which I love. This little bar light, I've used this so many times for so many projects, but then right here, this is one of the lovely things about Planet Coaster 2 right now. This is probably my number one frustration, other than graphics cards crashes, is selecting objects. It kills me inside. It makes me so irritated. You saw that in the first episode, and then I had trouble making, the world place the objects correctly, and now look at what's happened. I've run into it again here in just a different form. It's a whole different permutation of this same nightmare, but it all works out in the end, right? Pro tip for you there, go ahead and write on your sign right away, because you'll be able to find out if it's upside down or not, which is something that may not be obvious or immediately apparent. I think honestly that putting this staff door here, though it looks great, it exposes a really huge flaw in my planning strategy here, and that is that fencing absolutely blocks that door. And I don't know if you immediately see it unless it's pointed out to you, but yeah, it's there. And I think eventually too, just totally side thing, but I think what I'm gonna do is make sure I have some like complex signage with different font sizes and stuff of an appropriate size laying around, because there's so many scenarios like next to that door where it would have been great, or even putting like ride instructions next to his ride and stuff. That would have been a really cool thing to do, but again, I didn't really forethink it through all the way. And with the sun back on, we come back to the outside of the building where it's time to work on those polishing little touches and those annoyances, like for instance the queue line. I do not like doing queue lines. If there was a task in Planet Coaster that I had to pick that I didn't want to have to do anymore, it'd be queue lines. I could care less what direction that path goes, but I'll tell you what, I really supremely care when it doesn't go correctly. So it could go anywhere as long as it went there right. Because like here, what happens here? I get all bunched up on myself trying to get this in place. Ended up doing what I did outside of Chase in the last park, and ended up doing now in this park, and that is to bend that walkway down there and then resort to putting some pillars or supports up, and then realizing this entire thing is going to need a skirt around it of some kind to give it a facade. But I'm going to be honest with you, and you can see it a little bit closer here in a moment, I don't put it on both sides. I'll put it on the other side eventually. The park will have 100% completeness before being handed off to someone else for spotlights. So just know that. But yeah, I mean, for now, it's wide open on that side. I did fight a little bit here with this angled piece. I'll be honest with you, it was a little bit of a rough piece to try to implement, but it's only because of the awkward sort of angliness of the pathway. The pathway is not straightforward right here. It looks like it should be, and it looks like it could be, but it isn't. And it does come out when you're trying to line things up. But it's probably another really good reason why I didn't bother putting the back of this pathway on. I think that might have been a contributing factor to that decision as well. And here I go, unable to put a wall down one level for whatever reason. So I just went ahead and did it manually. Good old manually. Nothing else works, just go manually. And when you get an overlap, there's another one. When you get an overlap, just go ahead and drop something in there, like a pillar with light on it. I mean, it looks okay. I think the only thing that I could add to this and down the road, and I mean, you know, feel free to suggest stuff too, is some fence edging on there, like on the top of that wall, just something to keep people from falling off, because there'd be a little bit of a liability factor at play there. If you remember way back to November, maybe September, October last year, when I was working on Willow Grove Twister, I wrote on the side of its tallest point, Twister, in these letters, and I loved it. This is a little tricky to do because you have to take every letter to 300% or whatever it is when you're, whatever scale you use for this first letter, you got to repeat that because it doesn't hold the scale information, but it's well worth it. You can see this sign forever, like all over the park. In this front end, you can see this inferno, and it's something that just stands out really well, and it adds a coolness to the coaster, and you really don't have to get too close and add brackets. I mean, none of the track is in a position, as you'll see when we do the POV, to even see if that's connected properly to the coaster. And then not only that, from the ground level, it's so high up, you don't get close enough to tell if it's connected properly or improperly. The only time that you would ever ever get close enough to tell if it was improperly or realistically attached is if you floated over there and just looked really close. Before I hear anyone mention it, I wanted to start putting in some kind of safety fencing here. It is something I have lacked in previous builds and something I need to get accustomed to doing because it adds not only so much to the ride, but it also adds that little extra touch of realism to the build. And it's more enjoyable to look at, honestly, with this little bit of fencing. It adds that element of danger to the background where you have to consider the fence that's in your way. And here it is. I think this is a fully themed ride. I could adjust some of the pillars, but I think I absolutely love this. It's something that I enjoy a lot. It really is. I don't think when I go into these that I fully expect if I'm gonna like it or not. And right there, you can just see that edge where I didn't finish. But yeah, the interior of this came out really cool. The ride is really cool. Thank you so much, Loopty, for this. And I think it's just one of those rides that's just going to stick in my head as a great ride. I hope to do this with every ride in the park. I know I set a 1 hour challenge for these, but it just doesn't do them justice. You know, this took me a little bit longer than 1 hour. This took me 2 or 3 hours, but here you go. Enjoy the POV on Inferno. Man, isn't that a great coaster? It is a great coaster. Let's check it out here at nighttime and really get a good feel for how it feels at night as well. And if you like these types of coaster build videos, one of the videos on the screen right now is going to show you, I think they're both actually, the 1 hour challenges I did. Community members build a coaster, then set the theme, and I had 1 hour to complete it. I had a lot of fun with those, so check them out now.